You're listening to the Aluminum Contractor Marketing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping your service-based business grow and thrive using the latest technology in internet marketing. And now, here's the host of our show and the CEO of Grow Inc., Matt Law.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of our podcast. Super excited to be with you today. In this episode, we're going to talk about email marketing. And in 2025, we're going to continue our educational course. I hope that you had a happy new year. Just want to remind you that this is a training series and there's some bonus episodes in here and some words for thought in there, but I would go through these in order. So if you go back to episode number 1 in the training and go through those episodes, it will share with you everything we see working with service-based businesses and why you may want to listen. My name is Matt Law. I'm the CEO of Grow Inc. We are a marketing agency that works exclusively with service businesses. And so we basically have some pretty cool tools that measure all of our marketing that we do for clients. We've had clients grow by as much as 400% over just a few years. And we have some really cool tools and systems in place to help companies grow. What's cool about us is we measure everything, and so we know what works and we know what doesn't. And so we've got a book and some tools and free resources on our website at Grow, that's GRO.Inc, INC, and you can check those out. And with those, you can get the blueprint for what works. So with that said, we're going to jump into today's training, and you're probably thinking, email marketing? I thought that was dead, right? Well, actually, it's not dead. It's a little dated, but it's definitely not dead. And so you'd be wrong to think that it's dead. So we're going to talk about email marketing, how to use it, and when to use it. So in 2024, as I shared in our previous podcast, we saw many companies who were seeing a decline. And so we would have these calls and they would say, hey, we're down by 10% year over year. Even when we would onboard clients later in the year and say, hey, where are your revenues at? Well, actually their revenues were a little bit less than what they expected. And on average, the prospects and even some of our new customers, they were down anywhere from 10, 15%. And that had a lot to do with the economy. Election, who knows really why, but these are for prospects that were new to working with us and they basically didn't have any changes in their marketing over the last year. So let's say they're down, but what would happen and what would you do if you hired an SEO company and they screwed up your marketing big time? And so this year we had a company that was doing about $1.2 million in revenue. If I remember the data right, they hired an SEO company and it really screwed everything up. So in local SEO, a big part of rankings is name, address, and phone number and not messing up your locations and not messing up your citations. Well, they hired an SEO company and it killed their local rankings. They built them a new website. There was so many bad things and so many wrong things. I can't even go into all this. But when we started tracking, I realized that the company had experienced 16 straight months of declining revenues. Not only that, and so they had left the 1.25 million range and they were down by almost 500,000. And I've never really seen this before. So when we audited their business, I knew their marketing was bad and their exposure was bad, but I was surprised how high their revenues were, but the revenues were from before. Anyway, here's what you need to realize. They were in trouble and stressed about it because now they're investing with us in marketing and they needed things to be fixed. So we did start fixing their SEO, their local right away, but that's not an overnight fix. But the biggest thing we needed to do was make sure they got calls so we could get their revenues up. So yes, we did fix their local and their rankings are returning now. And so they're doing really well as of now, up by about 45% month over a year ago, which is big. But what is interesting is that in the old days, well, I'm talking way back when, before text message marketing, the number one value of internet marketers was in their email list, because if you did not have any traffic on your website, but you had an email list, you could send out an email. People would open your email. Remember your old Yahoo email you had, or your AOL email? This is even before the promotions inbox on Gmail. Like, you could send out an email and people would open it. And so the number one value of internet marketers, I'm talking about 2000, probably 5, 6, 7, when they would talk about this a lot, it was in your list. Well, as part of the 4-step formula that we use here at Grow Inc., we still value that data, that database. And actually, that's why we give away free offers, all of this, because we want people to opt in to go onto our database and give us permission to communicate. And permission matters. So there's a book, it's an old book, Seth Godin book, Permission-Based Marketing, where you have permission to market to somebody on your list. And so email is part of this. It's a great way to re-engage past customers and prospects. And we're going to talk about that in today's episode. And let's talk about a business like yours. You are maybe seeing some declining revenues. You're like, hey, what do I do? How can I get that 10%, 15% back? Well, one place that you could start with is with your past customers. So if you have a CRM, this is going to be easy. So in most cases, you can export all of your customers and then you're ready to go. Now, if you don't have a CRM, this isn't going to be fun. You got to get out papers and files and maybe all of your different systems that you use, and then you need to add them maybe manually by hand or typing them in to a spreadsheet, like a Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet or something like that. So what I would do is whatever you have, if you have thousands of people in there, the best time to get started is today. Give it to somebody on your staff, export the people, add them to their, whatever you have to do, go through your paper files. And I would go back about 3 to 4 years. And if you go past that, people will have moved on. They've changed their emails. If they haven't worked with you in 3 to 4 years, more than likely, they probably don't want to hear from you. And obviously, this depends on various factors. So if you have some people that, hey, they were great, you could go back and add them, but you're going to get them from your paper files or from your CRM. You're going to export them and you're going to upload them to your new email marketing platform. So there's a bunch out of here, like there's MailChimp, Active Campaign, Klaviyo. There's a lot of great ones that are out there. We use MailChimp a lot, not necessarily the cheapest, but it's something we're very familiar with, and I'll walk you through that. Also, if you want to text them, you can import them to MailChimp if you have text message, if you have their cell phone numbers. Klaviyo also has that as well. Anyway, text message marketing is a cool thing as well. Email is what we're going to talk about today, so I'm going to stick to email basically. So once you have them imported into your system, you have to go in and customize your settings, like the sender, the domain, and all of those different things. It'll walk you through that. And then you want to create a template, and now you would be ready to send out a campaign. So imagine, all right, sales are down. You got all these customers. You haven't talked to them. You never asked them for a referral. You never asked them for business. Matter of fact, you didn't do anything for them when they closed. So once you have them imported and you got all your settings done, now you can send out a message to them. So basically, I want to bring this up to everybody, is that whenever you add new leads to your existing CRM, all right, say you use a various CRM, there's a ton of them out there. You can actually automate it so that when you add them to your CRM, that it will actually add them over to your email campaign through like Zapier or through some automation. So this way, when you add every single new lead there into your CRM, they're automatically going to be on your email campaign. So now that you have all of your people, all your past customers, and all of your new prospects and customers going into this list, you can now communicate with them. And most of the time we do this quarterly. So each quarter we put on our task to send out a email message for our clients, and we will look at their objectives, we'll look at their different services, and we'll just come up with a nice email. and we'll get it ready, share it with them, make any changes, and then that email is good to go. But what about our client that I was talking about who was struggling? Like, this company had messed up their SEO, so their revenues were plummeting, and they've got 1,800 people in their database. How do we engage them? So we activated 1,800 people on their list, sent them out on a monthly email instead of a quarterly because of declining revenues, to talk to them about different services, cross-selling, upselling, and to remind the customers that, hey, we're here to help you. We're here to serve you. They offered a free inspection, diagnostic, a few different things like that. Here's what I want to tell you. Out of 1,800 people on their list, they had a 40% open rate, which is fantastic. That's over 750 people that opened the email, and it was a part of them recovering their revenues. Now, there's a lot of things that go into this, but if you're seeing declining revenues and you're not communicating to past customers, the number one thing you can do for yourself right now that's easy is get all of them into an email campaign and start communicating with them. And so it should be someone's job on your team to send out these emails each quarter. We do this for our clients already. If you're a service business, like, they're not looking for anything sexy. They are looking for you to just say hello. And so for us in November of last year, we sent out a Thanksgiving recipe. Christmas, we wish them a very happy holiday season, and then they're going to continue to communicate. So we do this for all clients, but someone on your team should send out these emails. If you were working with us, we would build it as part of your plan, but you should be emailing all of your customers and prospects quarterly. Now, let's talk about new prospects. What if somebody flows into your website and they request a quote? Well, if you follow our 4-step marketing formula, this plan, you already know about unique selling points and why they matter. So unique selling points are what make you different, better, faster, and it becomes your overall marketing plan. Now, if you have developed these, then I would suggest that you create a series of unique selling point emails or USP emails. And it's usually 3 to 5 emails that explain why you're better and how you're different. So let me kind of walk you through how this would work. Someone requests a quote, and it is this instant email or text, usually both, that's going to go out to them and say, hey, thanks for requesting a quote. We'll be in touch with you really soon. Now, usually we use API to connect that one to your Textmagic account and to your email account, which is usually either a Google business account or maybe a Microsoft account, and we'll send out a personal email and merge in their information. 100% deliverability, never goes to the promotion, and they get that text. So now that they've got that welcome email, you may be calling them, scheduling them. But then the next, say, maybe 7 to 10 days, depending on your service, depending on your industry, all of that, you can share your unique selling points with them. Sometimes you don't want to trigger these. So maybe it's just like a quick service. They're filling out a form for a service call. You maybe don't want to do that. But if it's for a quote on something big, you would want to do that. So you would want to get them on this sequence. So based on some rules of the quote request, you could send out these emails. So that would be a sequence. Like, say maybe it's 3 to 5 emails over, say, 10 days. When someone calls in and they request a quote, your CRM could also add them to that campaign, so that whether someone fills out a form or someone calls in, they're being added to that sequence. They'll get that text, they'll get that email, and then there's a series of emails that go out. Now, why send out these emails to prospects? Well, this is all about conversions. So unique selling point marketing is all about conversion. So when someone opts in to your list and you're sharing, hey, here's why we're better, here's how we're different, there's video, and there's all these things engaging, it builds confidence, because most of your competitors are too lazy or don't know how to do all this stuff. So if you do it, it's very, very powerful, very, very helpful. So you want to start off with all of your existing customers, and you want to build number one, you want to build that master database that's got all of your customers and prospects in there. Everybody, you're going to communicate with them quarterly. As new prospects come in, they're going to get those quarterly emails too, but they're also going to get that welcome sequence, which shares your unique selling points. Now, what about customers after you close the deal instantly? So you can also create a automation sequence or series for new customers. So let's give you an example. When a project is closed out, all right, and you're in your CRM or however you're doing this and you're closing them out, you can add them to a little sequence, and it may be 2 to 3 emails. And I'll give you an example that for us, how we do these in most of the custom CRMs, it's a initial thank you email and text, and it says, hey, I'll give you an example. It says, hey, thank you so much for your business. If we haven't already given you our free whatever, we'll be shipping it out in the mail as our small way of saying thanks. Also, if you don't mind, if you could click this link down below and leave us your feedback and a review, something like that. I didn't do a good job of saying it, but we have a good template for that. So that goes out to them via text and email instantly. And then they could go to a referral program sequence, which could be like a week later, say, hey, reminder about company name referral program and $25 Amazon gift card per referral. And basically that email says, hey, anytime you refer us somebody and they tell us they heard about, our company from you, we'll send you a $25 gift card. Now, they're already a customer of yours. You already have their information. You have their address. It's all there. So it would be very easy to do. The only way you can do this, though, is if on your website, when you say, how did you hear about us? And they say referred by a friend, you get the friend's name so you can add them. The other thing is when you're getting leads by phone, whoever answers your phone, you just say, hey, how did you hear about us? I was referred. Who referred you? So giving referrals has to be a big deal. And so here's what you do. Whenever that deal closes, that next one closes, you say, hey, that was a referral. Then you send out the gift card. It's super easy to do. So that email tells them about the referral program, and whether they know about it or not, you still should you still should give gifts to those referrals. It's something that you have to kind of plan through, and all your team has to be a part of. Another email that may be in this customer would be a cross-sell or an upsell email. So if you have other services, so maybe, I would do something generic. So if you have 3 or 4 key services, you could talk about those, you could share about those, different technologies, anything like that. So sometimes you can get more revenue, especially after they've done one job with you. So remember, these customers and all your prospects are already going to be on that quarterly email that everyone gets, but they're going to get a couple emails right after the deal closes. One more group of people that are going to get emails that we haven't talked about is if you follow our formula, step number 2, we call platforms and offers. Grow your database using platforms and offers. So we do free offers for most of our clients, unless they really don't want to. But we usually do some sort of ebook or guide or design tool or something. And when people request these tools, then they also get added to the USP sequence for a prospect. And so they're going to get these automation sequences. And so it's sharing the client's USP and why they're better. So if they're looking for a company and they're kind of undecided, it's going to help them get to know our clients better and increase the conversion rates. So here's what I want to tell you. Like, if you get all this set up, yeah, it's a lot to set up. But here's what's cool is you got 4 emails to send a year. And then you've got a referral campaign. You've got your free offers. Everyone who requests your free offer, they're getting emails. Everyone who requests a quote by phone or by email, when you add them to the CRM or they're filling out on the website, they're getting added and they're getting the welcome messages. All your prospects are learning that, all of your customers. It's very, very powerful once you get it set up, but it does take some work to get set up. But once that's done, you're talking about sending 4 emails a year, and you're going to stay in touch with every single prospect, every single customer. It's pretty powerful. And why this matters, and I want to kind of close out today's training by helping you understand there's an A to Z buying spectrum. All right. A is where people are very far away from buying. So sometimes people are going to go to your website and they get an ebook because they're curious about something. and they opt in and they are at A. They're not ready to buy yet. Now, a Y scale buyer is almost a Z. Z is where people become customers and stay customers. So there's a spectrum. And whenever I meet with, service businesses, I'm like, hey, we all are on the A to Z spectrum, right? We're all somewhere on there. And we go to the store and we see, a pack of gum and we're like, hey, I'm going to buy that. We go from A to Z very, very fast. But in service businesses, unless it's an emergency, a lot of times they don't. They want a quote. They want to know how much it costs or what's it going to be. And so if they opt in for your free book or you're giving them an estimate or anything, they're somewhere on that A to Z. And if you're at the house and you're meeting with them and you're giving them a folder, why you're better, USPs, part of our full plan that we suggest, and then they're getting these nurturing emails that are telling them why they're better. It's moving them to the Z scale until they say, hey, maybe you are more. I don't care. I want to work with you because I know you, I like you, and I trust you. People do business if they know you, like you, and trust you. So what's really great about what I'm sharing is that if you remember the A to Z spectrum and know that your emails are going to nurture them to Z, what's cool about this is prospects are more likely to buy and your customers are more likely to remain on Z and be loyal to your company. So in summary, I will say you do need an email marketing platform. There's a bunch out there. We like MailChimp, but there's a ton. Pick one that you like based on the price you like. You need to get your prospects and your customers into them. You can export your customers out of your CRM, put them on a spreadsheet and upload them if you got to get them from paper. Automate, if you have a CRM, how your prospects go into there. Send out quarterly emails to everyone on the list, and then you can make some sequences to add people to it that are new. Remember the A to Z spectrum. So here's a couple common questions I get about email marketing, and this is what maybe some of the pushback you may say. Number one, do people really want to hear from me, right? Like you look at your company, like you probably don't want to get an email from you either, right? No, they don't want to hear from you. And the good news is they can opt out with one click. I mean, it's super easy. Unsubscribe. We all know how to unsubscribe. Now, if they respond something snarky and like, why are you emailing me? Then just go to the bottom of the email, click unsubscribe and delete the email. Don't even respond. Just unsubscribe them and let it go. But if they don't unsubscribe, then they are a customer. You got permission to market to them. And there's so many pros and they far outweigh the cons for communicating to customers, referrals. I mean, just everything. You're going to stay in front of them. So you can send valuable information to them. And so even a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays is great. Thanksgiving recipe. You can send a coupon, discount, cross-sell, upsell, remind them of your referral campaign. There's so much that you can do. So I would just say, do people want to hear from you? Not really, but they're not going to be mad. If they are, you just unsubscribe them. Most people aren't fanatics about that kind of stuff. And if you're sending through an email campaign, it's going to go to their promotions inbox anyway. And then they're going to be okay. They may not open it right away, but a 40% open rate is pretty fantastic, actually. Settings. What settings do I need to be aware of? This is another common question. So if you don't set up your email account the right way, you're going to struggle. You're going to actually have a lot of your emails go to spam. So usually when you set up a email marketing account, it's going to have you go through certain settings. You're going to have to go to your DNS records, which is normally where your domain was purchased. So if it's at GoDaddy, it's wherever your DNS is hosted. And normally it's going to be where your domain is at. And you're going to have to configure a couple things like a DKIM record. You may have to add a CNAME record for verification, a couple other things. But follow the settings in there and make sure you get your domain set up the right way, and it will increase your open rate. You also want to send from an email where people respond to, or however you set that up. It needs to come from your company domain. Don't use a Gmail. It's unprofessional anyway. Another question, last one for the episode. Can I email people that aren't my customers are prospects, and I would just tell you, like, you don't want to do this. It's spam, and it will hurt your email deliverability overall. So if you email people that don't know you, and prospects, they're not your prospects or not your customers, you are going to get marked as spam. I do this all the time when people send me email and they're soliciting to me. I know that if I mark them as spam, then they are going to get blacklisted. And there's all these different entities that track spam emailers, domains that are spammers, and they get blacklisted. And once you get blacklisted, it's hard to get off of that blacklist, and then your emails will stop getting delivered, which isn't good because you may be sending out an estimate or a quote request. And if that gets blocked, it's a huge, huge deal. So only email people that are your customers and your prospects. Super important, super helpful information, I think. And it's something that we do, and it's something that we just really didn't put as part of our series. So I hope that as you start out 2025, this information was helpful and useful for you. Just a couple things to remind you of. If you want to learn more about Grow Inc., or maybe you're interested in having a chat with us, you can go to www.gro.inc, Grow Inc., and you can request our free resources. There's a ton of cool stuff on there. There's our training. There is our comprehensive marketing book. It's also available in Kindle and Google and Apple Play version. It's also an audio version there. We have some checklists. We got a marketing checklist. We also have our marketing tools. There's a bunch of cool things there to help you. And then if you end up wanting to have a chat, you could fill out an application and we could talk marketing with you. That said, I hope you found today's training helpful, and I wish you the very best in your marketing endeavors. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We hope you found today's episode helpful and informative. For more information about Grow Inc. and to request our free marketing blueprint ebook and other resources, please visit www.grow.inc. That's GRO.inc. We'll catch you in the next episode.